Welcome. My name is Marty Bausch. I'm the Director for Training for Asko Appliances. Today we're going to do a short video on capacity on Asko front load machines. You know, one of the misconceptions that we have about front loaders is some are large and some are small. The small machines really aren't that small compared to a top loader, for example. If you're a consumer that's thinking about going from a top loader with an agitator to a front loader, and capacity was never an issue for you, well, maybe the biggest machine on the market isn't something you really have to have. If you look at capacity in a top loader, for example, the ones that have an agitator, the old style agitators that are still prevalent in the market today, you'll know that you have to load around that agitator. That's not usable space. And one of the things that people don't know is when you measure a drum for any washing machine, whether it's a top loader or front loader, they're all measured the same way. So when you measure a top loader drum to get capacity, you get to remove the agitator out of the machine. That agitator equals about 1.15 cubic foot of space right around there. So this machine I have here is a 3.5 cubic foot top loader with an agitator. If you remove the agitator out of that, you get that 3.5 number. With it in, you're just a little over 2 cubic feet, 2.1, 2.2 cubic feet. Our Asko front load machine is a 2.12 cubic foot machine. So they're virtually the same capacity, even though a front loader will probably hold a little bit more because there's no agitator. So when you look at what we have here, we have 8 bath towels that we're going to load to the machine. And this is a pretty good size load in anybody's home. I don't think this is a small load. This is the size a bath towel is. It's a very large towel. And what we're going to do is we're going to load them into the clothes basket just to give you an example or an idea of how large a load this actually is, because you know the universal measuring for a load of laundry is generally a clothes basket. So we're going to fill this thing up, and then we're going to end up loading the top loader, and then we'll move them from the top loader to the front loader. So here's your load of laundry. I would say in any house that's a normal load of laundry that needs to be washed. So we're going to go ahead and load it into the top loader and give you a good idea of really how large this load is. As you can see, as we put the last couple of towels in some cases you may think this is even overloaded. This is a very large load for this machine at 3.5 cubic feet. Top loader is supposed to roll over. The fuller that a top loader is, the harder it is for it to clean, unlike a front loader. So I would say this is a full load. Now that you've seen what a top loader with an agitator looks like fully loaded, we're going to go ahead and take the same load and we're going to load it into the Asko front load machine. And you'll see that there's plenty of space in there for this load of towels. And the rule of thumb is if you can shut the door on a front loader, you can wash the load. And the reason is because this tumbles by the drum turning this way, whereas on a top loader, you're trying to get the agitator to work back and forth and create a current in the water to get the clothes to move vertically up and down inside that drum. This is called rollover. So you always get more rollover this way than you do in a top loader with an agitator, because every time the drum turns, you get a rollover of the clothes. Now that we have the machine fully loaded, some people may look at this and say, there's no way that's going to get clean. That thing is way too jam full. And the fact is that when clothes are dry, they take up much more space than when they're wet. And so we're going to start this machine, and you'll see as the clothes start to absorb water and it starts tumbling, the size of the clothing will actually reduce and the size of the drum will enlarge. That's just what it kind of looks like when it happens. So we're going to go ahead and start this. And I'm just going to do just a regular wash. And we'll hit start here, and we'll fill with water. And what Asko does is it adjusts the amount of water it needs depending on the size of the load. So if you're doing a small load, it's going to use a small amount of water. If you're doing a larger load, it's going to use a little more water. But it has an automatic sensor in it to determine how much water it needs for this load. So it may fill 4, 5, 6 times depending on what you're trying to wash inside of the machine. As you can see, now that the clothes have become more saturated, you'll notice that there's much more room in the drum for them to turn because as obviously when they were dry, they took up a lot more space inside the drum. But you can see that wash action starting to take place here now with the tumbling action in the machine. It's now refilling again because the water level has gotten too low for the size of the load we have. So it's going to re-level the machine to the right water level, and the clothes will start tumbling again. And as they absorb more water, if it needs to add more water, it will. If it doesn't, it will just start counting down the time in the main wash. And you'll see a big difference now once these clothes are really wet on how easily they tumble inside the machine and how much space you really do have left in there. Now you're getting a good idea of the wash action inside the tumble machine. You can see that the towels are very wet and the size of the drum seems to have gotten larger, even though we know that's not true. But the clothes, since they've absorbed so much water, have reduced in size and they are now able to move freely inside the drum. As you can see from the test sample we did here, that's a very large load of clothes in most anybody's home. Like I said, if you're coming from a top loader and you're going to a front loader because of the technology and you know it uses less water and energy, that's fine. Just know that the Asko family size washing machine will hold as much as your previous top loader did. If you're 3 or 4 people in a household, this is the perfect size for you. Thank you for watching this video, and please check out our website at www.askousa.com for more product information.